Hello, welcome to another movie review. Today I am reviewing a film that is part of my most beloved franchise. And funny enough, now I have watched every episode of One Piece and more than once, and that's not easy. Well, it is for me. And I've seen all the One Piece films, and yet I've never reviewed any of the One Piece movies on my channel. Now, I have actually reviewed a couple of the movies, the ones that at least came out after I started doing reviews. I did written reviews for those, but I had not done video reviews. And when this film came out, I searched everywhere. I looked at every site that was available and I could not get this film in my country. It is now in my country, available on DVD. Only took them a while, so that's frustrating. But that being said, I will stop bitching and I will just get into my review of One Piece Stampede. One Piece Stampede is a 2019 Japanese animated fantasy action adventure film directed by Takashi Otsuka from a screenplay by Takashi and Atsuhiro Tomioka based on the manga of the same name written and illustrated by Ichiro Oda. It's the 14th feature film of the One Piece film series and commemorates the anime's 20th anniversary. In it, pirates from around the world gather at the Pirates Expo to join the hunt for Gold D. Roger's lost treasure. This film was set up during the 2-episode filler arc, Cider Arc, that occurred during the Wano Country arc, and whether it's a filler episode, a ridiculously long arc, or a non-canon film doesn't matter. As long as it's One Piece, I'm gonna be happy. That's how much I love One Piece and the world Ichiro Oda has created. That being said, this certainly wasn't my favourite One Piece film, and for a film marking the anime's 20th anniversary, it didn't feel like it echoed the momentous occasion. What the film has going for it, for starters, is the incredible animation. The film certainly has more than one animation style, and due to it being a film, can use a few different techniques we don't commonly see used in the anime, which meant there were more moments where I was just blown away by what was going on visually on the screen. From the detail and motion put into Bullet's Devil Fruit power, and even more than that, his awakened Devil Fruit power, which was out of this world, to the way it shot the two warring sides of Marines and pirates clashing on the battlefield. Most of the time the animation was pretty much in keeping with the anime, but then we just have these moments where it takes it up a whole other level and my chin couldn't help but drop. So for me, the biggest pro is the animation. One of the other fun things is getting to see so many characters featured in one setting. We never see this many characters interacting with each other, and I always wondered how this person would interact with this person and that with that person, so it was nice to see. On top of that, I think this film gave another opportunity for Boa Hancock to shine. We know Hancock is one of the 7 warlords of the sea, or technically former warlords, I should say. She is also the Pirate Empress and Snake Princess of Amazon Lily, which is an island of female-only fighters, kind of like Themyscira. The last time we got to see Hancock showing why she deserves her warlord status was during the Marineford arc, when she, instead of doing her job, was kicking the ass of anyone who got in Luffy's way, and she kicked ass. Well, in this film, she kicks even more ass. We know she has a useful devil fruit, and though we've never seen her use it, she is a user of Conqueror's Haki, but in this we see her natural fighting skills. She took on a giant monster of a machine the size of an island and managed to make a buckle with a single kick, not even using her devil fruit or Conqueror's Haki. We got to see she is incredibly fast and incredibly strong in ways we haven't quite seen before, and it was awesome. It was great seeing why she was given the title of Warlord. Outside of this, I honestly found the story and character interactions to be incredibly disappointing. I know Oda was the creative supervisor, but I think he needed to do a bit more supervising. There were 2 villains, Douglas Bullet and Buena Festa, and both are underwhelming villains. In a world where we have seen many villains, these two don't leave an impression. The film kind of reminds me of the previous film, Gold, with that being set in the entertainment city and this one being set during Pirate Fest. I mean, they're both party locations basically. Buena Festa is great at planning, but that's it. He plans things but does little of nothing else. In fact, I don't even think most of the characters were aware he existed or even cared during the entire course of this film, and ultimately his goal was simply to outdo Roger. Fester felt he was the master of festivities, but felt Roger outdid him when he, without trying, created the pirate era. So now he's out to do a dead man by creating a new era. That just sounds so petty and stupid. As for Bullet, we keep encountering characters who know of him, know of his connection to Roger, know how strong and dangerous he is, but who he is as a person was really glazed over. They briefly talked about his background to create a context for his character, but it was so brief I barely even remember it. Something about being let down or abandoned. Basically, now he's just a guy who thinks he's the strongest man in the world, wants to be the strongest man in the world, and thinks being strong makes you the Pirate King, which it doesn't. He's kicked everyone's ass in like 2 seconds and then spent an hour going on about how strong and powerful and amazing he is, which was just getting repetitive. At least in the anime, while a fight may go on for like 100 episodes, we gain so much during each episode. We see Luffy learn, assess, and adapt. We see him show new techniques in his fighting or create new ones to combat his opponent. We see him use every opportunity as a training experience to make himself stronger, and we see his opponents go through something similar, realizing for the first time they have to push themselves in ways they normally don't, and we get to, at least most of the time, but not all the time, learn more about them as a person and what makes them the way they are and why they fight the way they do. I didn't get that in this film. Bullet is only one of a handful of characters to master the awakening stage of their devil fruit power. In the films, which are non-canon, he's only one of 2, but I don't feel this level of power was even necessary. They even gave him Conqueror's Haki, which felt excessive because I couldn't see anything about his character or personality that lines up much with the traits of those who possess this ability. It all just seemed excessive. While it was fun watching people of all walks of One Piece life band together to defeat him, I couldn't even enjoy that because I never felt like anyone was pushing themselves in a new way. We've seen how Luffy adapts during his fights and comes at things a new way after he gets knocked down. In this, it just felt like he kept throwing hits until one took, and it just didn't feel like a Luffy fight. Even the other pirates weren't doing anything out of the ordinary for them, same with Smoker and Sabo. The Buster Call, even though Bullet was a mammoth-sized weapon threatening and beating everyone, I don't know if it warranted a Buster Call. And to make it more annoying, Robin didn't have much of a reaction when she discovered that Fester's goal was to force the Marines into using a Buster Call. She barely reacted. The attack that wiped out her country, her friends, her family, her history, everything, and she maybe sweats for a second and that's it? How disappointing. While the film shows off a great many characters, I feel like in order to do that, it sacrificed the Straw Hat characters. They each get to fight here and there, but ultimately they're either running around or just not present on screen for most of the film, and it kind of bummed me out. Luffy was reunited with Sabo and yet was more excited to see Hancock instead of his brother, who he has only seen once in like a decade. That didn't feel right to me either. I mean, this is the guy who can get excited and distracted by anything during a fight, but the appearance of his brother barely was worth a blip on the radar. Ultimately, the film didn't have any surprise endings. Luffy won, like always, and when he gets to open the prize everyone was fighting for, which turned out to be an eternal log post to Laftel or Raftel, the island at the end of the New World, and the island where the One Piece resides, Luffy did what I knew from the start he would do. He destroyed it. The flashback shows us that Roger was pretty mad his crew even made a log pose and didn't hide the log pose so much as he got rid of it by throwing it into the sea. I personally don't feel like the Roger pirates would have made a log pose. They were adventurers like Roger. They also knew his journey was a one-way trip because he was dying and they've never told anyone how to get there or gone back. So I don't believe they'd make a log pose they'd never even use, and Roger I think would have destroyed it if they had. And I mean in a more permanent way than just throwing it into the sea. But I have to remind myself this film isn't canon, and so the rules are different, but Luffy destroying it was very Luffy. If we look back at the Sabaody arc, Usopp asked Rayleigh if the One Piece exists, and Luffy screamed at him at daring to even ask, that he didn't want to know if it existed or not, that if he was told anything he would give up on his quest to be the Pirate King then and there because he'd rather die than go on a boring adventure, which Rayleigh admired because he sounded just like Roger. So of course Luffy would destroy it, also so no one else could have have it, but I doubt he was thinking that far. But even as I'm saying all this, I know I am way overanalyzing it because, again, I know it's not canon and I need to just accept it how it is, but I just love One Piece so much, so the fact that films don't do so great at intersecting with the anime sets off my obsessed OCD brain and I can't help myself. Ultimately, I enjoyed the film because at the end of the day, I'm watching something to do with One Piece, and I love One Piece like I love breathing. I love the animation and a bit of the spotlight given to certain characters. While it didn't have a purpose, I loved how Sabo had an image of Ace projected at the end, so it was like them side by side making an escape path for the little brother. While the rest of the film didn't have the emotion One Piece usually does, that moment right there had me in tears. Overall, I found the story to be very weak, and it did a disservice to the world of One Piece and its characters, and to make matters worse, it had some very underwhelming one-note villains, which, given the quality of villains we've been introduced to, I just can't forgive that. Nevertheless, if you love One Piece, you'll enjoy this regardless. And those are my thoughts and feelings on One Piece Stampede. I can't believe how long it took me to obtain this damn movie, only to be kind of disappointed. Not kind of, I was disappointed. I mean, I love One Piece. I love everything about it. I'm still thrilled I got to see Hancock doing all that cool stuff, but I don't know, when you've been invested for 20 years of your life into something, I trust me, I know how Marvel and DC fans feel. I don't mean the people who like read the comics and then watch the movies. You have a certain standard that has been set with the anime, and if you were someone who reads the manga, I'm sorry that I haven't. But it's just, you have a certain level of expectation, and so it's kind of a high benchmark when you come into the films, and then you watch the films, and trust me, there are times I've watched them and I've been like, oh, that was fun, that was really cool, and then there are other times I'm like, whoa, what? The non-canon thing is what really gets me, because I'm just such a stickler for the details and how the world is just so rich and characters are always intersecting and narratives are always intersecting. So when you watch a film and it's like nothing intersects, it's just like, wait, but what? Like, you can't even place it in a specific time in the timeline. It's so complicated. But nevertheless, I love One Piece. I love One Piece so much. I would have even been wearing my Tony Chopper hat, but it is not compatible with my green screen. You'd think Sky Blue would not have an issue with green screen, but I assure you that it does. Nevertheless, that is it for this video, for this review. If you're a One Piece fan, comment talking about One Piece. If you have seen this film, you can comment and share your thoughts on the film below. Or you can just comment and tell me how you're doing in general. I would love to hear from you. But that is it for today's video. Thank you as always to my super awesome patrons, where I've still got a lot going on, including continuing to tackle the films in the Man-Eater series for my Oracle Reacts. Oh god, I'm going through so many terrible, terrible, terrible films for public entertainment and money. But like I said, that's it. So I hope to see you in my next video. So take care, and until then, bye!